Hello and welcome to my first video on my new YouTube channel. My name is Dr. Ali McMillan. I am a naturopathic doctor practicing in British Columbia. And today's video, we're going to look at how and why you might want to track your migraines if you suffer from migraines. Before we get started, I just wanted to take a minute to explain that all of my videos are for educational purposes only. Nothing in here is meant to diagnose or treat anybody out over YouTube. You're welcome to use any resources that I post with your own healthcare provider. If you are in BC and you are looking for a healthcare provider, you can check out my website at gentlemedicine.ca and see if I might be a good fit for you. Now on to tracking migraines. Why might you want to track your migraines? There are three main reasons. The first is to get a baseline. The second is to investigate what migraine triggers you may have. And the third is to track your progress in terms of treatment to see whether or not a given treatment is causing your migraines to get better or to get worse. Getting a baseline is important as this gives us an indication of how severe things are now and will help us keep track of how things are changing over time. Tracking your migraines and your migraine triggers help us to determine which triggers actually pertain to you, because not everybody is triggered by the same things with migraines. And tracking long-term and noting when you start different treatment options can give us an indication of whether or not a treatment is working for you, whether your migraine frequency is getting better over time or if it's getting worse over time, and what treatments are just not working at all. That's valuable information as well. So what is a good method of tracking migraines? If you hop onto my website, gentlemedicine.ca, there will be a link in the description below. You can download for free my handy migraine tracker. The migraine tracker is divided into two parts. The first part gives you a year at a glance. So it allows you to look at the general trend of whether your migraines are increasing in frequency or decreasing in frequency over time. So ideally how you would use this page, you would mark each day that you have a migraine with the letter M. If you are a person who has periods, you would mark the first day of each period with a letter P. Sometimes that allows us to look for hormonal triggers for migraines. And anytime that you start any intervention or treatment to decrease your migraine frequency, you'll want to mark that on the calendar as well. And that'll give you an indication whether that treatment is working over time or not. The second part of the migraine tracker is really about tracking potential triggers. Everybody's triggers are going to be different. I've just listed some of the more common triggers in this tracker. I was limited in terms of space, so there's only 4 migraines per month on this particular tracker, but you can always print out another page if you're experiencing more than 4 migraines in a month. And you would just check off any migraine trigger that you had been exposed to in the 2 days before you experienced the migraine. There is a lag period between 6 hours and 48 hours between the time someone is exposed to a trigger and the time that it takes for a migraine to develop. So that's why having a 2-day window and thinking back over the 2 days over what you might have been exposed to is a good idea. The main migraine triggers to look for are missed meals or fasting are a very big one to pay attention to. Changes in sleep or stress. Sometimes changes in the weather can trigger a migraine, as can mild dehydration, changes in caffeine consumption or alcohol consumption. I've kept the food triggers on this tracker just in case they apply to any individual. The food triggers, the patient experience and the research doesn't quite mesh very well, but I don't like to ignore patient experience, so they're on there. There could be a confounding factor involved, which is why the research and patient experience isn't quite lining up perfectly, but we'll never know if we don't look for them, so I kept them on the tracker. I hope this resource is helpful on your journey to decreasing your migraine frequency. It's always a good idea to see a healthcare provider for treatment for your migraines, but also to rule out any red flag conditions that might look like a migraine but potentially aren't. If you found this video useful, please like and subscribe, and I hope you have an awesome day.